being in employment, that solidified, this is just not for me. I'm just not meant to be here at all. I'm supposed to be a business owner. The main point is that no one knows it all, and it's okay to ask questions. What I'm building is just going to be so incredible, and that's not kind of to toot my own horn.
Hello and welcome to Coffee with a Female Founder with me, Matt Dean, producer Matt. There's a very good reason for this. It's because this week's guest is the usual host of Coffee with a Female Founder, Amy Kohl.
Hey.
Hi.
It feels so weird to be sat in this chair instead of there.
Yeah.
The whole room looks different.
Yeah, different perspective.
It is.
Yeah, and that's what the listeners are going to get today, is a different perspective on you.
Yeah.
Because you're the one usually asking the questions.
I know. I don't have to do that much talking in that chair.
No, but you will today. Because even before we just started, you said, I feel like I've just forgotten my whole life. I've only known you since July. I can't fill in that many gaps.
You can't.
I can probably give an overview of where you're at, but we need the details from you. Mm-hmm. So that's what we're going to do today.
Perfect.
Yeah. And just before we start, can you just explain how you're finding this podcast and hosting it and the experience so far?
Yeah. Do you know what? I've never thought I would ever have a podcast, and so many people have been telling me to get a podcast and start one for ages, and I've always shut it down because I'm an introvert. I don't naturally love conversing with people. Obviously, if you're my friend and I'm comfortable with you, fine, but strangers I find quite difficult. So it's been a massive learning curve, but I feel like I'm getting better at it. And sitting down with people that have huge amount of expertise in obviously their specific field means that I get to learn so much. It's literally free advice for me as a business owner as well, which is obviously what it is for everyone else.
Yeah.
But I get to ask the questions of what I want to know. And it's been a really, really good experience. It really has.
No, it's brilliant. I really enjoy being part of it. I'm usually over there either pressing the buttons or just listening in.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy it. And it's interesting how easy it can be to talk to people that you don't know, because so many of the people that you bring along, it's the first time you've met them. Yeah. And it really is it's all just about curiosity, isn't it? It's all just about finding out about who they are and what they do. And now it's your turn.
I know.
So should we start properly?
Yeah.
Should we start in earnest?
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about little Amy.
Little Amy?
Yeah, little Amy. Like, what did you want to be when you grew up and all that kind of stuff?
So, funnily enough, I've always been a creative person. I initially wanted to be an architect, funnily enough. But it was way too much maths. And I'm not good at maths. Yeah. So, through school, I have always been a really, really hard worker, been a bit of a grafter. Like, mum and dad never really had to tell me to do my homework or anything, that kind of person, a bit of a nerd. And I did a lot of creative subjects at school. So I did dance, performing arts, so music and drama, but also like textiles, product design. So I kind of steered away from all the really academic stuff and went full ham with creatives. And then, I went to uni and did fashion design.
Is that because you wanted to be a fashion designer at that point, or was it something you were enjoying? Or?
No, I think I wanted to be a fashion designer, at that point. And I mean, I was for a while, but I come from a small town, Morecambe, that, look, it's great, but it doesn't have, like, loads of things going for it in terms of, like, young people that are ambitious and want a big career. Yeah. I needed to get out.
Bit of a brain drain town.
yeah, exactly. So, I came from Morecambe, being a person that was like really, really into fashion, and everyone was like, oh yeah, Amy the fashion designer kind of thing. Then I went to Birmingham Uni and I was full of little Amy the fashion designer. It's like 80 people. Yeah. So I think it very quickly, like, it wasn't anything like Devil Wears Prada or anything like that. Like, my dreams didn't shatter because I absolutely still wanted to go into it, but I had to look at it a little bit differently then. It wasn't going to be like a couture kind of vibes where I go and work for Alexander McQueen or anything like that. It was very much like you go work for Matalan and design white T-shirts kind of thing, which obviously wasn't exactly what I wanted to do.
But you did set up a fashion brand.
I did, yeah.
And when was that in your...
So I came out of uni, my undergrad, and went into employment first. So I was a sportswear, menswear designer at a gymnastics company. I had a really cool opportunity there though. So I designed the Tokyo 2020 gymnastics kit for the UK team. So that was really, really cool. We collab with Adidas for that. But then I think, well, I guess if I was sat here as the founder of Core still, which was my fashion brand, which is now closed, my story has kind of changed. I guess it's not changed because it's still my story, but it's kind of shifted a little bit. But I guess if I'm putting my kind of Core hat on, the main reason why I left that job at that time is because it kind of broke the door down of what the fashion industry actually was. Obviously, I'm big on sustainability, big on ethics, and that company was neither of the two. So it kind of showed me that it wasn't all, what's the word? It wasn't all like amazing as it was kind of set out to be. So basically what I'm trying to say is that it was very unethical. The factory that was in our building was all kind of predominantly Asian people, Muslims, that then didn't get treated the same way that us designers were, that were predominantly white women. And the sharp difference between the two was actually like unbelievable. And the fact that it was happening in like Preston, which is where it was based, so it was like right on my doorstep. And then I'm like, what on earth is happening in like Bangladesh, where all the disasters were happening, like buildings were coming down and child labour and all sorts. So I was like, how can this be the fashion industry that I've loved for so long? And all I wanted to do was be in the fashion industry. But I was like, this is not for me at all. And like my parents, they founded a charity, so we're very like kind of giving back to the community a bit. We've got morals and
you feel social responsibility.
100%. Yeah, and it just was like I was so shocked by what it was. Like it was really bad. So I was there for 9 months. I'm actually shocked that I lasted 9 months, and I didn't really know what to do because I was like, well, now I don't really want to be in the fashion industry. So
it's a similar story to your first guest, isn't it? Eleanor.
Yeah.
Who was on.
Well, yeah, she went to my uni. Like, we were the same. Yeah.
Yeah.
So she worked
same thing. It was the same perception of the industry, wasn't
exactly
what she wanted to be in.
And we both set up businesses around the same time. She did hers a year earlier. So I decided to go and do my master's degree and did it in fashion business and marketing. And then that's where I set up Core. I used that brand. Well, I used the master's, to build that brand. And then, I kind of was freelancing after that and set the brand up. And it was great. Like, for the first maybe 2-3 years, it was great. Made profits in my first year, which is almost unheard of in a product-based business for the first year. But it was during lockdown and everyone loved small independent businesses. Yeah. Yeah. And then after COVID, when everything kind of got back to normal and everyone could get their next day deliveries again and all sorts, they kind of forgot about the small businesses. Yeah. And I maybe didn't realise the shift that I needed to make as a founder.
Didn't sort of predict that.
Exactly. Did not predict that trend at all.
Would have been really sharp and you're not,
no one had a clue what was going on.
Exactly. Yeah. And I'm saying it wouldn't have been an easy thing to predict. It would have.
Yeah. So closed it. Well, I actually closed it officially last year. I held on to it for a long time. It was definitely closed way before it actually officially closed.
Was it hard to do? Was it hard to close it after all that effort?
I put a lot of myself into it, a lot of blood, sweat and tears. Like it was going for 6 years. 5-6 years. So it's definitely difficult to do. And it's like, it's your like first baby. Like you put so much energy into it. But I needed to close it to grow into bigger things. And it was really important for me to make that close. So many people were like, just keep it open. Like, you don't need to do anything. But it was more the mindset shift of like, no, I'm not doing that business anymore. I need to like now move on and be able to grow.
What's the point in having something that you're not putting the energy into and the effort?
I wasn't
it's not just going to carry on, is it?
No.
And it's going to just grind to a halt. And
exactly.
You've got other things that you need to do like
Yeah.
as a result.
Yeah,
like,
it was
just
more of a burden
draw a
at that
line
point.
under it. Yeah, yeah. But it's like any of these things. Then it's never ever a waste of time, is it? Like, because your business had a lifespan. Things changed.
Yeah.
But what did you take away from it? What were the big lessons that you got from it?
Oh my word, all sorts. I mean, I only so I didn't employ anyone. I worked with freelancers. So I worked with a freelance seamstress who made all of the clothes, so it was made to order. And then I worked with a freelance marketer. But for the first maybe 2-3 years, I did everything. So I sewed everything,
Right.
did literally everything. So I learned all sorts about the business and obviously got a master's out of it, which was kind of kill two birds with one stone kind of thing. But yeah, it forced me into learning about finance, which I never probably would have learnt about. Obviously not liking maths, I didn't really enjoy that. But yeah, I learnt a lot more about marketing. Like my background was kind of, well, after the master's degree, kind of marketing. I did a lot of marketing at the fashion job as well. So I took on that marketing role, which first like introduced me into that. But yeah, I guess the biggest learning curve is that I was always meant to be a business owner. From that first instance, like I never thought I was going to be, but I was always meant to be.
So it was that experience that cemented that as
100%.
this is what you knew what was going to be next, even though you didn't know exactly what was going to be. You knew that you wanted to go and own a business.
Yeah. Throughout owning that business, I did obviously freelance. I was employed for 2 years of that as well. I was an operations manager for a recruitment agency. So obviously that being a business owner and then also being in employment, that solidified this is just not for me. I'm just not meant to be here at all. I'm supposed to be a business owner, regardless of what the kind of business obviously is now. It didn't really matter to me. I just knew that there was no job role that I could fit in anymore because I knew this is really big-headed. I felt like I knew too much and I was more of a generalist and I loved having lots of fingers in lots of different pies, which nowadays job roles, you need to be a specialist. And I just wasn't. I was a generalist. Yeah.
I think what's great though is having a combination of experiences. You know, you've studied, you've been at uni, you've done. You said your mum and dad had a charity. I don't know if you did helping out with that.
Yeah, volunteer through COVID.
Yeah, did you have like odd jobs and stuff like that as well?
Yeah.
You know, and then through the experience of the masters and the business, and then being employed in a business, you were doing operations. So it's very much about obviously the operational side of the business. All this stuff really starts to come together, doesn't it, in your head and you through your own experiences, and it's really rich. And you can then apply it to something else, can't you? So when you'd been through all that, how did you move forward to where you are now and what you're doing now?
So I quit my job in April last year, and it's been a bit of a journey since. So I quit knowing that I was going to start the Female Founder, that had been going probably since like February last year was my first like initial idea. So I put all my eggs in one basket. I was like, right, I'm launching the Female Founder. We're still here. What are we on? End of Jan, and it's still not launched, but it's fine. It will be. But yeah, so I quit very, very quickly realised that the Female Founder was going to take a lot more work behind the scenes to get it to what it is now and what it will be in the future. So I kind of scrambled for freelance work. And that's where I started the marketing, not an agency, but just like a brand, Core Studios. So I kind of pulled from Core, the fashion brand, and was selling my services for marketing, so website design, social media management, a lot of strategic work as well, and then a little bit of coaching because obviously I've got that operational background and business background. But I knew that it was something that I never wanted to scale. It was just out of necessity that I built that.
Do you remember what the nucleus of the idea for the Female Founder was and like where it came from? And were you sitting in a coffee shop one day and did you get a spark, or how did it come about?
Yeah, so I'm a big fan of vision boards. So in my old house, I had a vision board right up in front of my desk, and I was just sat there kind of typing away. I can't even remember what I was doing. But there was the word joy on there, and it was spelled, so the phonetic is JOI. And I also use the phonetic for core as well, KOHR, which also, funnily enough, is similar to my last name, which is great. So the word joy was there, and then underneath was like a little description about what joy was. And it was something, I can't remember word by word, but it was something along the lines of gladness not based on circumstance. Mm-hmm. And I really feel like in that moment, I was like, all I want is just to be happy. Like, I was so big on making money, really like money motivated and making this big empire business. But then when I looked at that, I was like, I'm actually so happy, like, in my life. I've got a lovely dog, like a great boyfriend, family, friends, everything, like in the house that I wanted to be in at that time, obviously moved since. But I just felt like I really want a business that fits within my life rather than me having to like mold myself and kind of make this like amazing, like huge business, which obviously it's going to be at some point. But yeah, and then I just kind of, I think it just hit, like I've obviously put it on my vision board, like I read it before, but I don't think I like read it before. Yeah. So in that moment, I was like, oh my word. And then I was just like reflecting on everything that I've been doing. And I was like, in the moment that I started Core, the fashion brand, I didn't have anyone who was a business owner in my life. Obviously, mum and dad founded a charity, so it's very similar. Like, they still got similar ambitions and things, but obviously running a charity in comparison to running a business is slightly different. So I didn't really have anyone that I could necessarily lean on and be a part of the journey with me. And I think that would have been invaluable. I think that I would have not made anywhere near the amount of mistakes that I made, not paid for the amount of stuff that I paid for. And then also like, COVID shifting and, someone that just kind of understands the business world and how trends work, that probably would have helped me. And, maybe I wouldn't have closed Core and maybe it would have sustained my life and I didn't have to freelance or whatever. Hindsight is obviously a beautiful thing, isn't it? But yeah, in that moment, I was just like, I just really wanted people around me. And at that point, I didn't really have many business owners around me either. And
contemporaries as well. That's the thing, things that, people with similar experiences to share and maybe of a similar age, and obviously it's for women. Yeah. And so there's that's relatable. Yeah, so, exactly. Because obviously it's not that you have to be, and we're very different and we're in business together, but it's kind of nice when someone's on a similar journey, and you can learn from the similarities in that journey.
Yeah, exactly. And just have someone just to, I guess, support you, but not just in business. I think that was really important as well. For the female founder, obviously, people can give you all sorts of business advice, but if it doesn't work for you because they don't know your life, like, I don't know, for example, my best friend Eleanor, we support each other a lot. She was my first guest on this podcast. And we have very different ambitions as to what our businesses will look like. She would probably never employ anyone and never really want to scale it past just her, but whereas I want that, and we understand that about each other, so I'm absolutely not going to advise her to then start employing loads of people. But if people don't know your life and they're just giving out business advice willy-nilly, that's what you're going to get. So that was why it was important to me that the female founder is relationship building and it goes beyond just the business advice.
Yeah, you do have to understand. Mentoring is obviously a tried and tested avenue for people to gain the knowledge of somebody else, but yet that it requires that understanding of the person. It's kind of like a lot of things are relatable, aren't they? It's like business, the marketing. You've got to understand the business. We've done work with one of our clients, and we'll come on to starting another business shortly. But you have to understand people and relationships and things like that in order to, because it's not one size fits all.
No.
And on that subject of one size fits all, I was thinking while you were telling me about the different things you've done. Yeah. It's kind of similar to me. It's kind of like you've tried on a lot of shoes and you've
realised some of them don't fit.
They don't fit, and that's okay, isn't it? Yeah. And the female founder was the the pair of shoes you put on that you thought actually
This really
and is that because you think because you were coming into it with that different perspective rather than rather than the end goal being in mind of like money and success, it was more about the kind of
I think because I've done so many different things. I mean, I could list off like 1,000 different things. Well, not 1,000, maybe I've not lived that many lives. But because I've done so much and because I've realised that I am good at a lot of that, you know, I'm not an expert in any, but I am good at quite a lot of different things. And it was just, the female founder just felt like everything fell together, like everything that I've done fell into one, which it didn't for core. I was very much like still a fashion designer that was trying to start a business.
Yeah.
But with the female founder, it feels like me in a way and like just encompasses all the experience that I've had.
Yeah. You can bring a bit of this,
Exactly.
a bit of that.
Yeah.
You know, you're doing some courses and you're putting those courses together. You obviously feel comfortable doing that. You're good at like networking and bringing people together.
Yeah.
And then obviously all the marketing side of things. So there are, when you realise all the skills and experiences that you've got can be applied to something that you're really passionate about, that's kind of when it clicks.
Yeah, exactly. And I think like I've always been, I guess, really passionate about, well, I'm a feminist, like, and I never knew how to articulate that because it was quite a tricky subject for me to talk about. I always got quite like emotional talking about it. I didn't really know how to articulate how I felt around it, kind of thing. And the female founder for me is like the most empowering way for me to live out that passion through a business in a sense. So yeah, I genuinely feel like all parts of the things I've ever wanted to do in life has just all fallen into this business.
It's kind of like, I mean, there's a social value to what you do, and it's a business, but in order for it to sort of feel right to you and to give you the drive to get up in the morning and want to do it, it had to have that social value. Yeah. And you're really by setting it up and doing what you're doing and bringing people together and helping. It's genuinely good for the people that are involved in it, and that really, I guess, you discovered is more of a motivator than how much money it's going to make.
Exactly.
And obviously, ideal scenario, you get both, but that's really the thing that drives you more than
100%. And it was funny because when I worked at the recruitment agency, it was obviously very money, and because it's that kind of industry, which is fine. And I am a money motivated person. Like I do get driven by having money in the bank, and that does matter to me. But I think I very quickly realised that I need purpose. I need that social value. I need it to feel passionate and motivated by what I'm doing. And I want to use the skills that I have to give back to the world. And that's obviously where sustainability comes into it as well. Like, you know, we can talk about sustainability in an environmental sense as well. But really for me, it was more about giving more back than I was taking in any sense. And that's what the female founder is.
I mean, I think not getting too deep and philosophical and stuff, but like, you know, you think about our legacies and stuff like that. If you have kids, it might be your kids. You know, if you invent something, it might be your invention. Yeah. But for the majority of us, we don't have this great legacy that's going to be remembered in thousands of years. But what we can do is I think just passing on your experiences, passing on what you've learned, sharing with other people, and being generous with your spirit and your knowledge and your skills so that's what you're doing, and that's what you're encouraging other people to do, and that's when we gather here for the podcast. It's a great way of people doing that.
Yeah,
and it's kind of how I think we got our spark a little bit as well, because in July last year you met me, which is obviously one of the best things that's ever happened to me.
Highlight of 2025
of your life. I was going to say life,
but life, okay.
I'll take 2025. That's okay. But you know, there's an element of planning, and there's an element of purpose in things, and then there's an element of happen chance, isn't there, as well? And do you want to just explain how, because the female founder has kind of taken, with this podcast, has taken a step forward, and everything has moved on, and it all, and then what we're doing has materialised out of sort of out of nowhere. So you want to just tell us about how that came about?
Well, I was living in city centre, Manchester, and then moved to Oldham in July. And I was literally scouring the internet for different restaurants and different like things that were going on in Oldham, just to kind of feel like Oldham's my town and things. And then discovered you, QPod, your podcast production company. And at that point, I had already filmed one episode of Coffee with a Female Founder. And the initial idea was to go into different coffee shops and sit down with like a little lapel mic and a phone on a tripod and just chat to someone. It was supposed to be very low effort, kind of no money, didn't have any.
You were saying lo-fi at the time.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. And then, so I then watched the episode back, and camera angles were horrific. The sound just didn't work. It was crackling the entire time. It was technically incredibly bad. And I was just like, I couldn't put that out anywhere, but even if I tried again, it just wasn't the quality that I wanted. Yeah. And I hold myself to very high standards, so it needed to be good quality. Yeah.
You wanted it lo-fi to look lo-fi, but it needed all the right things doing it to make it kind of to work.
Exactly. So then I discovered you on Instagram, and I was just like, let me just reach out. And it was literally just for advice at that point, because I didn't have any money to spend on anything. I was earning like next to nothing. So I just wanted to say, what tech do you advise me to get or anything like that? So we had a phone conversation, and then you were very interested. So you were like, let's grab a coffee. So I came into the studio and we just chatted. And I think we realised very quickly that there was a lot of synergy between what we were doing, but more so at that time, it was like what we could kind of give each other. Yeah. So it was like, you could help me with the podcast and I can help you with marketing. And it was transactional at that point, but obviously just not monetary. It was just for our expertise and time, really. Yeah. And then, it materialised from there. It happened very quickly. Like, we're only in January and we met in July. It's not even a year. But I think, like you said before, when things just kind of fall into place and happen naturally, like you just kind of go with it rather than having to plan everything, which I'm not very good at because I'm a typical type A person that needs plans. But it was really nice to just see it all kind of organically form together. We've started a new business, Become Content, which is a podcast production company, but it does offer more, doesn't it?
We had to figure it out, didn't we?
It took a long time to get there.
Not really.
Well,
it's like when you really grand scheme of things. But like how to officially go about it was one thing, but it's like, how do we merge these two things together? How do we create a product or a service or something that is new that puts us on equal footing as well? Like, you bring your thing, I bring my thing. But I think from getting that phone call, when I get a phone call and somebody's got a really good idea and I think, that sounds great. And I understood that the podcasting would be difficult to do we could do it, but it takes a lot more effort and planning and whatnot. But it was a really good idea. And then you came up, we had a chat, and I just think you've got to be open to things. You've got to be open to new people, new experiences, and it's just kind of evolved. And now we are literally like going into business together, and we've created this brand new brand name. Tell us about Become Content and like what it is and why you think it's the next project that you want to get involved in. So
obviously doing podcasts myself it's made me a lot more interested in podcasts just in general, just as like a different form of content. I always struggled with content creation. Being a marketer is probably not ideal, but I was more kind of on the graphic design part anyway. But I struggled with content for me because setting a camera up, sitting in front of it and then talking, it's awkward. It's quite difficult to do. So...
You've got a dog in the studio.
We do have a dog in the studio.
We'll work around the dog. Don't worry.
If If you're a female founder like me, spinning a lot of plates right now, let me make at least one of those tasks easier. I want to tell you about Xero, an accounting software designed for small businesses. I use it to keep my invoices, expenses, cash flow and reports all in one place, so I'm not guessing my numbers or losing hours to spreadsheets. The Female Founder is part of the Xero affiliate program, where you get 90% off your first 6 months. That means that you can build strong financial habits, and we can keep this podcast a free resource where you get to learn from other female founders. So click the link in the show notes to get started with Xero and claim your exclusive 90% off your first 6 months. I'd always try and batch content, which was always really difficult, but the only way that I found that actually worked, because it was really difficult to just like pick up my phone and start filming myself doing stuff. But even that, it just felt really unnatural. So podcasting for me was essential to my marketing strategy. It was the way that I was going to get the most content. It was the way that I was going to sit in front of female founders. And it was the way that I was going to be able to sell the female founder without selling the female founder in like a really horrible salesy way. So if that's the best thing for my business, that's the best thing for a lot of businesses. And I think it's really important to humanize your brand. I think we're kind of pushed now as founders to be influencers, to be content creators. And if you're not natural at it, it's so difficult. And it's like another thing to add to the list of stuff to do, and it always gets pushed down to the bottom. So I really think having something in the diary where every week you come in, you sit down behind a mic and you get to talk in a conversational, storytelling way that you can show your personality without having really to try and do it in a way that looks good. And, you know, you're stopping and starting the camera like 50,000 times, and it feels way more natural, and also is probably more enjoyable for the listeners as well, because they get to see you in front of loads of different people. They'll hear kind of snippets of your life throughout different podcasts. And yeah, so I just found that it was so important and so vital for my business that surely it's going to be the same for others. So bringing my expertise in with the marketing, and then obviously yours with the podcast production, it felt right. Like it literally just, like we said, it just fell together and it just naturally happened, which is, it's so exciting.
And the thing is, we can look after everything. So we bring people in, we develop the whole strategy for how, you know, the concepts of the podcast, the marketing, the target audience. We create the social media content, we post the social media content, we review it, we do the analytics, we do it. And it's by coming together, we can do all that.
Exactly.
Whereas, because I was getting a bit frustrated. I could create a podcast, but there was loads of other stuff that needs doing to get it out there. And so like that was the piece of the jigsaw, really, the final piece of the jigsaw for
me.
Me.
But then that's what I like as well, is that I get to put my fingers in lots of different pies the same way by having two businesses. In this business, you get to do all sorts with a client. You know, we work with them on their target audience and learn about their business and probably inform them on different parts of the business that they don't necessarily pay us to do, but like we have that expertise because we're both business owners, so we can kind of relate to them and give them advice. And that's what I like about it, is that it's really personable, whereas like what I was doing before just felt, again, it was just very transactional out of necessity to just kind of make a bit of money, and I didn't have that, I guess, relationship building with the clients that I was working with as I do now. Yeah.
It's online is one thing. It's fine. It has a purpose, but like the real world is where it all happens, and you've got to meet people, you've got to have conversations, and whatever online strategy you have has to have something that's going on in the real world behind it. And I think that's what doing this kind of stuff is really useful for. And I think obviously with the female founder, I know that's something that you want to be doing. You want to bring people together. You want to create community.
Yeah.
So the podcast is part of that, and things are moving at a rapid pace with what we're doing. But the female founder is about to launch, it's a long time coming, like you said, about a year or so. So tell us what's next for that, and what you hope the next 12 months is going to look like for female founder.
So, well, by the time this podcast comes out, the female founder will have been launched already. So I'm so apprehensive because it's been a long time coming. I've been working on it in the background for a year. So I'm obviously scared to launch it. I think everyone kind of has that like jitters at the beginning of launching a business. But I'm also really excited. I think, so we've been filming, this past couple of weeks, we've been filming the videos for the courses that are coming out. And I had a moment, especially when Emma was doing her course, I had a moment where I sat back and I was like, oh my word, like this what I'm building is just going to be so incredible. And that's not kind of to toot my own horn. It's more to say like, people are coming together and people are sharing their expertise.
Well, when you're listening to that and you're like really enjoying it and learning from it, then you know that it's going to be, because you're feeling that. So
100%, yeah. So yeah, I'm really, really excited to get people. It's going to be mainly focused, especially in the early stages. So probably the first 12 months, it's going to be focused on early stage female founders. So people who are kind of in their first couple of years of business or haven't started a business yet and want to. So that's going to be the main kind of focus. And then moving forward, I would definitely want to bring more advanced courses in, talking about kind of scaling a business and that kind of stuff. But I think the main thing for me with the female founder is that it's not just me. I don't particularly want to be the face of it, even though, I'm hosting a podcast and things, but I want to be the facilitator. That I don't want to be the face. I'm not an expert in everything at all.
That's the whole point of it.
Well, that is exactly the whole point. But it's about bringing people together and bringing experts in their own field to share their expertise with other people. And yeah, I just can't wait for it to come.
So when you talk about courses and things like that, how does it work? So like, what's the model? What's the business model, and what do participants get out of it?
Yeah, so we obviously have free resources like this podcast, and then we also have a female founder WhatsApp group chat that's also free, that has people all over the world actually in there that kind of just support each other along the way. But the main kind of crux of the business and what is going to launch is a membership. So it's a membership where you pay every month. It's like a subscription to the gym, whatever. And then you get access to a directory of different courses. So the courses for me are kind of two parts. So there's the fundamentals of business. So finance, marketing, email marketing, all of that kind of stuff. But then what I'm almost enjoying a little bit more is the kind of mindset, holistic kind of courses that we've got going on. So one of my courses is goal setting. So I'm really big on goal setting, and it walks you through exactly how to goal set, because everyone talks about it, but maybe you don't necessarily know how to write them in a way that you can actually action them and get results out of it. And then we also have Emma, who I mentioned, who is a wellness coach. She's going to talk a lot about preventing burnout, because that's a major thing, not just in female founders, just founders in general. Yeah. But yeah, giving you advice on how to prevent burnout and how to look after yourself as a business owner, because you are the biggest investment your business will ever have. And yeah, so the courses are kind of the main crux of it, but the bigger thing and the thing that I'm most excited to kind of develop is the community aspect. So there's going to be community forums. They're going to be on WhatsApp, because it's the easiest thing. Like, everyone has WhatsApp on their phone. It's going to be the easiest thing for people to chit chat on. So it's going to be a community on there, and there's going to be something called the board, which is, it's basically based on, big businesses have a board of directors that they'll go to when they're making big decisions within their business. So it's not all on their head all the time. And obviously, as a female founder, especially in the early stages, you don't have people to go and ask for advice unless you've got, friends, family or whatever in business as well. But yeah, it's basically there to, I don't know, if you've got a client meeting that you're going to and you want someone to just double check your proposal, or you're struggling with pricing, or literally anything, you can put that in there, and your peers who are going through the same thing can give their advice and their expertise. And the main point is that no one knows it all. And it's okay to ask questions and get advice and get second opinions. And even if you just kind of need validation over something that you've done.
Because self-doubt is a big thing. Imposter syndrome is a big thing.
Yeah.
So just getting reassurance that you're on the right
100%.
track. And, you know, somebody just saying, well, you don't need to worry. It's great, you're great, is what you need to hear sometimes.
Exactly. And then we also have female founder champions. And that is a group of women who have been in business for a while. So they're going to be there as the experts. So, you know, maybe there's a question that goes in the board and people that have been in business for a couple of years don't really know the answer to that. But the champions, hopefully, there's obviously questions that maybe they also don't know. But yeah, they're there to act as the experts in the group.
The Female Founder membership is officially live, and I want to tell you all about it. As part of the membership, you will gain access to a variety of different courses covering business fundamentals and soft skills for women in business, along with workbooks and templates to implement all of your learning. You will also be a part of the Female Founder Community WhatsApp group, where you will find the space for the board. It's basically the board of directors that you don't have as a solo female founder, so you can go there to ask for different advice, support, and to celebrate your wins. Members also get access to exclusive offers on softwares and services for your business, along with various live events throughout the year and monthly webinars. I'm also offering the first 20 people to sign up 20% off their membership for life. Head to thefemalefounder.co.uk or click the link in the show notes to sign up for your membership. The Female Founder empowers women and elevates startups.
For a lot of business owners and business founders, they're the first people in their family to have done something like this. And sometimes, depending on where you're from, you know, the types of backgrounds of the people where you live, you might be the first person out of your peer group who's done it. It's not, you know, it's not like everybody's surrounded by, you know, parents who've got businesses and friends and that. It's
Exactly.
You can be quite isolated, can't you? And if you've come through an academic background as well, you know, like, your friends and peers might be going down having different routes, so you can find yourself quite isolated. You talked about making less mistakes. Part of learning is making mistakes, but there are big ones that are best avoided if you've got a bit of guidance and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
For sure.
But funnily enough, everyone that it's in this chair that I've had on my podcast, I've asked the same question: what one piece of advice would you give to a female founder that's just starting out? And I don't even know the percentage, but let's just say 70 to 80% of people have said, find your tribe, don't do it alone, find people that you can like lean on for support. And it's always the same, that everyone needs people. Like we're people.
Well, your businesses rely on people as well.
Absolutely.
It's not.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what would your piece of advice be then? Would it be the same, or have you got something else?
Oh my word. Honestly, I think the biggest thing for me is just to not doubt yourself. And I know that's so much easier said than done. But just do it. Like, who gives a... I'm not going to swear. But, like, genuinely, like, I think people care way too much what people think all the time. And I do. I'm so guilty for it. And the only way that you can, I guess, succeed in business is if you take risks. And you need just a little bit of, like, courage to take those risks. And if you're constantly letting self-doubt creep in, you're never gonna, because you're always gonna care way too much about the consequences and what people think all the time. So that is, I think, my biggest advice. I need to take it too. But yeah, I do just think literally just do it, and just like, who cares if it
there's never really a right time, is there?
No.
Things are never all aligned. You do just have to put yourself out there and do it.
Yeah.
I mean, people have there's all types of different reasons for why people doubt themselves or whatever. But I think knowing the direction you're going in and having something that you believe in is really important. Like, you know, you did the other things, but once you'd found the female founder, and then that's the direction. So I think it's like, once you feel comfortable that you've found that thing, then...
Yeah. I think it's always going back to having your why. Like, why am I starting a business? Like, I think that's for me. Like, I always knew, like I said, I wanted to be a business owner, because I knew that that's just a life that I wanted. I didn't want to be a 9 to 5. I didn't want to be tied down to asking a boss if I can have a day off, which I just find ridiculous. But I didn't want that lifestyle for myself. And that was my why. It didn't really matter to me what the business was. I just knew that I wanted to be a business owner. And I think if you can find your why and find your purpose, all the decisions after that is going to make so much more sense. It's going to be easy to find the right decision for you and the right path.
Yeah. And it doesn't matter how you come about it, does it? It doesn't matter how you get there.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's trial and error until you do. But if the why is strong enough, you'll get there, won't you?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Eventually, one day.
You will eventually. Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, I'm glad that you found me on Instagram.
Yeah, me too.
And we're doing all this, and it's been great.
It has.
It's been really good, and I really like the Coffee with the Female Founder podcast. I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens next with the female founder. But from I'm a founder, but I'm not female. But it doesn't make any difference. I learn so much from every episode about people, about technical stuff, skills and experience. It's just fantastic. It's a fantastic resource, I think.
Yeah, no, it really is. It really is. I guess there's the one thing that I really wanted to make sure is that people are getting like practical advice that they can implement like straight away. I think there's obviously a lot of podcasts out there that kind of talk very conceptually, but I think it's also really important to get like today's podcast that we filmed this morning. What can I do to improve my website?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Blue really wants to be on camera, doesn't he?
I think the dog's telling us it's time to wrap this one up now. So, Amy, thanks for being with us on Coffee with a Female Founder.
Thank you. You're silly.